You need some clarity about what you are stepping into. It is not just about what you are stepping away from.
As you've gained your experience and wisdom over the years, your ability to solve more and more complicated problems means the original problem isn't something you necessarily have to solve.
You might just be a problem solver by nature. You can see things that other people can't.
Welcome to the Total Succession Show. I'm your host, Tyson Ray, joined by Kim Cochenour. We're glad you're here. Subscribe at totalsuccession.com/podcast and let each episode guide you closer to a confident, well-planned exit. Today's conversation just might be the nudge you need to start preparing for what's next.
Welcome back to the Total Succession Show. Today, we're talking about the messy middle of succession, that space between and that strange season where you're not out, but you're not all in either. You're sitting in a different seat. And if you don't have a clear vision for who you are in that season, you will end up stuck, more than likely a combination of resentful and confused, and just kind of floundering.
What I was once told is the risk is you start actually failing, and you start failing so slowly that you still think you're winning. And really what you're doing is you're putting off because you need to do a couple things.
Yeah. So if you've been following the SPACE framework, this episode lives in that powerful transition of act, commit, and exit. And truthfully, if you're doing it right, you cannot drift through these phases. And just like you've been telling your clients for decades, when they're stepping into retirement or whatever's next in their journey, you too need a mission. You need a new role. You need some clarity about what you are stepping into. It is not just about what you are stepping away from. So before we get into those details, I want to help you name a few things that make this phase so difficult. Identity. If your whole sense of purpose is tied to being the boss, the visionary, the decision maker, the center of gravity of the company you have built, then stepping back, it will be logistical, obviously, but emotional too. Tyson, I want to start here. As you've kind of grown this firm and grown the team, what surprised you about the shift when you were going through it?
It's the duplicity of your mindset, which is the feeling like, no, I have to do it in order for it to continue. Different from, and so therefore, if I have been the one doing it, that's where this, I was part of that success. The success can't happen. The growth can't happen. The difference can't happen. The core values can't be accomplished if I'm not doing it or doing all of it. And the shift is success is the other side of that is I have failed if I can't have a business that can run without me. I owe it to the clients and to the teams to create this, to live beyond me. And that's the motivation. That's the North Pole. That's what the North Star. That's what we're going after.
Yeah.
Is it needs to, I want this, like my greatest success is I can step away and it continues to thrive and make a difference in people's lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that shift for you, though, wasn't something that happened right away. And I feel like you say often we're all a work in progress. So I know that there's always going to be a little bit of that push-pull as the company grows and you figure out the succession of the company. But I've seen you get into that headspace and really, especially as the team members have come alongside of you to really help you be able to see that vision a little bit further. But I think something that's kind of lost or shifted in that identity is the potential of feeling lost or invisible or less valuable. So can you talk about that at all?
Part of it, we said in the other podcast is that, we are wired with a certain amount of energy, and things give us energy or take energy away. And part of it is just being honest with yourself as to what are the things that you do that you like, and how do you do more of them?
Mm-hmm.
And how do you communicate to the team what that is that you want taken off your plate, and what team members do you need to have? And maybe before we even get there, this whole identity thing, you need to allow yourself to do it wrong. You need to allow yourself to fail, try again, fail, try again. That's how you got here. That's how success happens. And then we feel, I wrote down perfect prevention, because we want to do it perfectly, or because we expect others to do it as perfectly as we are now doing it. It prevents us from giving it away. It prevents us from doing something else. And the truth of the matter is that you try, fail, pick it up, try again. It may not be the first hire. It may be the second or third, but the longer you wait to do anything, the less time you have to allow yourself the cushion to fail and try and give yourself the freedom. There, I say this to clients too. It's like, as we get into adults, we remove our ability to fail or to fall, right?
Mm.
Go back to walking. Like, you don't remember it necessarily, but if anybody has had a toddler around, it's like they get up, they fall, they hit their head, they get up, they try again. And yet somehow when we become adults, it's like, oh no, we can't fall down.
Mm-hmm.
Can't try that. That might not work.
Mm-hmm.
There may be some pain involved. And yes, and the reality is that all of that pain, failing, trying, getting up, trying it again, doing it a different way, hitting your head is all how you learn. And to some extent, it's all how your team has to learn.
Yeah. You have to give them the space for that.
Yeah. And, strategic coach Dan Sullivan, right, preaches 80%, like 80% is the goal, not 100. And you may not get to 80%, but what you did or what you got, what did you learn from that? And now can we try and do 80% again? And then we can do 80% again. And you can get a lot closer to perfection if you keep 80%ing things, but you'll never get there if it's 100% the goal. And we're too afraid to start because it might not work.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and Tyson, what I've seen in you and what I kind of heard you say is that you have to find your sense of purpose in your company succession plan can't be the sense of purpose that got you where you are. So you had to kind of shift from building the company to looking at it for a long-term perspective. And what does your new role get to be in that time frame or in that new season?
A lot of that can become your team telling you.
Hmm.
Because they too don't want to fail. And so as they learn and as they grow, they're able to do some things I had to learn the hard way years ago from an employee that basically said, when I went to her and asked her something, I said, why didn't you get started on that? And she said, because I was waiting for you to tell me exactly how you do it, or otherwise you were to tell me I did it wrong.
Mm.
And I realized, okay, I need to empower my team to try to take a crack at it, or instead of waiting for me to tell specifically how I want it done, come to me and tell me the 3 different ways you think you could do it and which one you think is right. And then I can speak into that, but then that helps them with the strategic thinking and the problem solving skills to kind of think through, okay, what should I do? What have I done in the past? What do I need to call somebody? How do I need to learn something? Do I ask a colleague?
Mm-hmm.
But if your ego allowed you, or your fear made you build a firm that everything has to run through you, you got a lot of work to do if you're ever going to be able to walk away and have something that can thrive without you.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of like, how can your role bring value without bringing confusion and letting your team start learning how to step in? So you have to evolve as the visionary, as the founder, because if nothing changes, nothing will change. And so you need a role with a name and a purpose and some boundaries. And so there's a few things that we have seen work. You're the consultant. You offer a strategic insight when you're invited into meetings. And actually, you're not calling the meetings. You're not meddling in the middle of operations. You can step in and be a mentor. You can help your G2 grow behind the scenes. You cheer for them publicly and privately, and you don't cast a shadow, and you really help bring them along and coach them. You can be a center of influence. You can step into a high trust seat for the introductions or advocacy. You don't take the ball and you don't run the play anymore, but you can be the specialist in that area and let your team run with the rest of it. And then honestly, you can be their cheerleader. You can stabilize, you can support, you can lift the morale of your team. You're present, but you're not pressuring in them. So, Tyson, I want you to think, which of those roles do you think most advisors naturally fall into after exiting, and why?
I think I want to add a role. I think the other role can be chief problem solver, because of the truth of the matter of listening to this and thinking of the past, you get bored.
Mhm.
You get bored doing that. Like, all of a sudden, if you'd have told me when I started my career, I was going to get bored bringing on a brand new $2 million client, it's a 401k, it's getting rolled over. They need, a de minimis amount of money out of it, or maybe no money out of it until they're 73. And they just want us to manage the portfolio. And then everything, debt's paid, like everything's done. Like it's 30 minutes and it's like, there are no complicated problems. It's like, that doesn't excite me.
Mhm.
And what excites me is solving complicated problems. And as you've gained your experience and wisdom over the years, your ability to solve more and more complicated problems means the original problem isn't something you necessarily have to solve.
No.
And I know colleagues that have had successful successions, but still get to be the one the team can call with the complicated problem. They're not even on the payroll anymore, but they still get to use those muscles because they have years of wisdom and experience. And in certain cases, the chief problem solver can then decide, am I going to be the consultant in this? Do I just need to mentor? Do we need to bring in is there centers of influences we need to connect them with that I know that they don't know? Do I just need to encourage them that, yeah, you're right? That's the right answer. And it can be, the lie is you're going to be bored. And the reality is you can still enjoy knowing that your phone can ring and you can be needed.
Huh.
And your team gets to know, hey, phone call away if I need him or her.
Well, and for those of you listening, Tyson, I'm sure you feel that this is possible, that you can be more than one thing. You're not pigeonholed just because you're out of your normal seat. You have the opportunity to do more than one thing when you're done. You're freed up to live, as it's saying, strategic coach, into your unique ability. You might just be a problem solver by nature. You can see things that other people can't. You might naturally fall into the advocacy cheerleader seat where you're there just like cheering your team on, being their biggest fan, helping give them that boost to move forward. You might be the better networker than anyone in your company, so you can continue to do that. It's not tied into the headshot title on your website. It's tied into the core of who you are. You just have to step back and give yourself enough time to figure out which one of those is your natural gift.
Well, and you get the freedom to be able to pick and choose what role you want to step into or are needed for when you stop doing all the roles yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's counterintuitive.
Yeah. So as we've kind of talked through those 4 roles, maybe one of them actually jumped out to you more than the others, or you saw yourself in a little bit of each. That's the point. Honestly, the point is to get intentional about how you show up, because when you drift, things get really muddy. So you need to be able to decide the lane that you're going to be in this succession so that it's clarity for you and clarity for your team and clarity for your clients. Because at the end of the day, clarity is kindness. So here's what we want you to think about. If you're not the one running the show anymore, what are you? How are you showing up in a way that helps and that doesn't hinder? Talk about it with your team. Talk about it with your spouse. Talk about it with your business coach. Or grab a notebook and ask yourself, what role fits into this season I'm in now? Tyson, any final thoughts you have for our listeners today?
Yeah, you just got to try it, right? It's got to be something different. It's going to be something new to you because you haven't done it before. And you got to give yourself permission to fail, just like you failed when you got started in this business. And then you get to pick yourself up with and learn from that and then try again.
Yep.
Because that's what life's all about.
Yeah. Be a trier. As my dad always used to say, be a trier. So thanks, everybody. And we'll be back soon with more conversations like this.
These conversations are designed to support your next move, however close or far it may be. Tap subscribe and let each episode guide you closer to a confident, well-planned exit. I've wrestled with these things myself, and that's exactly why I created something to help you do it with less stress and more direction. My book, Total Succession, is now available on Amazon. Inside, I break the process down into 5 clear steps to help you exit on your terms with confidence, full compensation, and your client's best interests at heart. You can also visit totalsuccession.com/podcast to download a free starter guide that walks you through my SPACE framework: see, prepare, act, commit, exit. Remember, you only exit your business once. Create the space to do it well. Thanks for listening. Until next time.